William Byrd was a planter with a large plantation outside of Williamsburg, Virginia. And the Crown, Queen Anne's advisors, decided that they wanted to take back some of the lands they'd given away earlier or something. I'm not sure why, but they decided to survey the North Carolina-Virginia border. And so he traveled the entire survey line from the coast. They started out at the ocean, literally, and with the poles went all the way across to this area and beyond into Stokes County and got up into the mountains before they quit. He kept a journal of the survey. And so every night he would write what they did and what they saw. And when he got to the area where, what we call the meadow, where the mall used to be, the mall, that flat area in there towards Draper, he said it was the prettiest part of the whole border. That land along here was the best land he'd seen. They just loved it. They wanted to go to the next top of the next little rise to see what was beyond it. And so he kept that memory, and when he ended up getting time to get paid, whether he got paid in money and came back and bought the land or got paid in land is probably debatable, maybe. I'm not sure of the truth. But he ended up owning 26,000 acres of land in the area that he called his Land of Eden, William Byrd's Land of Eden, because it was so pretty and reminded him the best of the Bible sense of Eden. His son was a gentleman and wanted to be treated like and live like a gentleman. He ran out of money and he decided he had to sell land. And somehow or another he got up with some speculators in Antigua, Simon and Francis Farley, and they purchased the land from him, all 26,000 acres. They tried to encourage people to come in and invest and set land, sell them, but there were so many people had already came into the area, just set up camp and started farming, squatting on the land. And so they couldn't get them out, didn't know how to get them out. There was the sheriff, I don't know whether there was even a sheriff then. This was when we were part of Guilford County, and before that we were part of Salisbury and Rowan County. So, we were far away from any county seat for most of that time, and there wasn't anybody to go roost them out. So they just let it go. Finally, after 1750, maybe after the Civil Revolutionary War, one of the Farley heirs went to William and Mary, met one of the Byrd descendants, a girl, married her, and they decided to come farm the land. Again, Byrd, Farley, unified again. We'll go farm that land that was granddaddy's or whoever. And they came and set up a plantation called Saurtown. Brought in 100 slaves from Antigua and set up shop. In the 1790 census, the original census of the state, country, the plantation is listed, but there's an overseer name and the slaves, but no Farleys. So they weren't here very long. And so after that, they decided, well, what do we got all this land we got to do? Patrick Henry had moved to north of the border. He was living up in Leatherwood, Virginia. He was a land speculator, and he came down and bought what he thought the entire 26,000 acre tract was and owned it all. So in 1795, when the city of Leakesville was being laid out, all the land east of here, the original plat, was land owned by Patrick Henry. But Patrick Henry, when he died in 1798-9, he left a will and gave his 26,000 acres to his two sons, Nathaniel and Patrick. The Farley heirs showed up at the estate settlement thing in Wentworth and said, no, we didn't sell it all to them. And so they had a big court thing, and the court divided it up into something like 13 little segments, 2 great big ones and a bunch of smaller ones, and divided it up between the Farleys and the Henrys. The Henrys got the 2 big ones and 2 of the smaller ones, and the Farleys kept the other smaller ones. We were backwater. And when they developed Leakesville, it was the first town up the river from Danville and the only town. There was nothing further west.
And when was that developed?
1795. Martin's, Madison was later. They weren't there. The Moorhead family was the next big family to come in here, and they were buying lots for $1,000, and 5 years later were having trouble getting 50 cents for them. Because, it was, the beginning were really rough. Boom, bust type thing was going on.